Hi, friends. Come on in. Welcome to Mimi's Reading Corner. I'm happy to see you again. It's been a while since we've done some reading, and I think it's time we get back at it. I am going to keep reading. We left off last time talking about Jacob and Esau, the two twins, and how different they were, and how there were going to be some struggles come up between those two boys, and that's what we're going to take up with today in today's reading. But I'd like to tell the adults who are helping you watch this video that I am reading from the Bible Storybook. It's by Elsie Egermeier, and that's a name that I've heard of. There are books by her that are still copyrighted, but to my knowledge, this version of this book is now part of the public domain and no longer under copyright laws. It was written in 1922. Why, that's even before Mimi was born. All right, friends, I want us to think about Jacob and Esau, and let's see how Mrs. Egermeier writes the story. This comes from the book of Genesis, chapter 25, starting in 19, and it goes all the way through chapter 27 at verse 41. So we're just going to read little bits at a time, just to pique our interest and learn a little bit more about these boys. Are you ready? Let's read. After some years, a change took place in Isaac's home life. Do you remember that Isaac was the father of these two boys? Two children now played about his tent door, two little boys. They were his sons. One of them, the older, was named Esau. His hair was red and it grew all over his body, and although he was kind of an odd-looking child, Esau was loved dearly by his father Isaac. The younger boy was named Jacob. He was not at all like his brother, and it may have been because of his thoughtful actions that he was loved better by his mother Rebekah. When Esau and Jacob grew older, their playtime hours grew less, and they were taught to work. They learned to take care of their father's cattle and sheep. Esau was fond of hunting and would often take his bow and arrow and go out into the woods in search of deer. Not only did he know how to kill the deer, but he also knew how to dress and cook the meat that he brought home from his hunting trips. And this pleased Isaac very much, and because he liked to eat the venison that Esau prepared, he loved Esau better than he loved his brother Jacob. There's a custom among the people of those lands to give the oldest son twice as much of the property upon the death of the father as the other children receive. This is called the birthright. And Esau, being Isaac's oldest son, was entitled to the birthright. But the boy Esau cared little about his birthright. He even despised it. And his younger brother Jacob thought much about the birthright and wished that he might be given to him instead of to Esau. He knew that he should be glad to receive his father's blessing and the double portion of his wealth, and even the tents in which they lived and the servants who belonged to his father's household. One day when Esau came home from his work in the field, he saw that Jacob had just prepared a dish of tempting food. And he was very hungry, so he asked Jacob to give him at once some of the food to eat. Jacob answered, "I will give it all to you if you will sell me your birthright today." Esau grew hungrier and hungrier than ever when he smelled the food that Jacob had fixed in his dish, and he cared more for his appetite than he did for his birthright. "What can this birthright profit me anyhow?" he questioned, "seeing I am about to die from hunger?" So he sold his birthright for something to eat. Now it was very wrong for Esau to despise the good things that Jacob had planned to give to him, and after it was too late to buy the lost birthright back, Esau became very sorry for what he had done. The years passed by, and Isaac moved into another part of the country, and here he planted fields of grain, and God caused them to yield an abundant harvest. God also blessed him more by increasing his riches until he became so great that his neighbors envied him. They thought he was a mighty prince among them, and they did not care to have him live in their country because he was so much greater than they. Isaac chose rather to go away than to have trouble with his neighbors. So he gathered together all his wealth and all his servants and moved once more to another part of Canaan. Here he built an altar and worshipped God. Afterward his servants dug a well and found good water. Then Isaac called the name of the place Beersheba. Isaac lived at Beersheba for a long time, and finally his eyes grew dim with age. It means he couldn't see very well anymore. No longer could he look out upon the good things that God had given him, and he thought that soon he must die. He wished to give his birthright and his blessing to Esau. Perhaps he did not know that Esau had long ago sold the birthright to Jacob. Or he may have forgotten about the incident because he was now old and feeble. We just don't really know that part. But he called Esau and said, "My son, take your bow and arrow and go into the woods and hunt one more deer and bring to me the delicious food that you can prepare. After I have eaten of it, I shall give you my blessing, for I am soon to die." What's going to happen? Esau sold the birthright. It's not his anymore. Well, we're going to stop our reading there for today. We'll take up there next time, and we're going to find out what happens between these brothers and their father and the birthright. So, until we're together again, everybody, I want you to remember that we just need to open our Bibles and keep reading.